Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today we're going to talk about Dungeons and Dragons. We're going to talk about nature, motive, and opportunity. We're going to talk about the Tiefling and how the Tiefling is a really fundamentally important aspect of our humanity and the lessons we can learn from the Tiefling, all in context to Netflix's brand new, brilliant show, Your Honor. All right. So, Your Honor, so spoilers for the television, spoilers for the streaming show, spoilers for the small screen show, Your Honor. It's starring Bryan Cranston. All right, so this just dropped on Netflix, brand new Netflix show, and it's fantastic. It's it's absolutely spectacular. I cannot recommend it highly enough, and it's really, it is, apples bananas good. It's really good. It's really good. I love it. So we're gonna jump right in, okay? And so this is so basically there's the judge and his family. So the judge, it has a son named Adam. This entire story is about how this judge, Bryan Cranston's character, the judge, Bryan Cranston, he is the judge, and his son is driving around an area that he is unfamiliar with and frightened in. He's frightened, not reasonably. He's frightened. Actually, it's the lower ninth corner of New Orleans. His son and the judge's son is lily white, and the judge is lily white, right? And because they're white privileged people, he has this fear of being in the lower ninth because not a lot of white people live in the lower ninth, and he has a lot of prejudice, right? And he comes from white privilege, and he has prejudice. So he's got a lot of fear, and he's nervous, right? So he's not paying attention, and he's frightened when he's in the lower ninth without reason to be, okay? So he's driving his car, a Volvo, of course, like that boy. They're really painting the picture of a privileged white person here, right? Like a Volvo, right? That's like an album. That's like a Vampire Weekend album, right? Yeah, right. So he's driving this Volvo, and he hits this kid named Rocco, and his name is Rocco Baxter. So Adam, the judge's son, kills Rocco Baxter, right? And who is the son of a New Orleans Italian crime lord, okay? Now, Rocco's mother, who is a hecka evil crime lordess, married to Jimmy Baxter, a crime lord, but really the head of the family is very much the mother, right? And they have a son named Carlo Baxter who's in prison, right? Now, when all this goes down, the judge immediately sets up a young black man to go down for the murder of Rocco rather than allowing his white privileged son Adam to go down for the murder. Horrible, horrible action, right? Bryan Cranston's character in this show is a monster. He's an absolute monster human, right? And of course, you're talking about Bryan Cranston. This guy he plays monstrous humans. So what do you think Walter White was? Walter White, I am the one who knocks, right? Walter White was a terrible human being, right? And here this judge is a terrible human being. So he sets up this person named Kofi Jones, and he configures everything so it looks like Kofi Jones, who stole the car that actually hit Rocco and killed him, but was driven by Adam, the judge's son, right? So here we end up with Kofi Jones and Jimmy Baxter and Jimmy Baxter's wife and Carlo Baxter all think that Kofi Jones, this poor young black man, has killed their son and brother, right? So the mother orchestrates that Kofi Jones will go to prison and then be put into the same cell as Carlo Baxter. Carlo Baxter takes Kofi Jones and beats him to death. Literally slams his head up against the wall multiple times and kills him, right, with his own bare hands, right? Now, what's shocking is none of this had to happen, right? Every bit of this is the judge's fault, right? Because he lied to protect his son, right? And he was willing to sacrifice a young black man to protect his son, which is absolutely abominably horrible. And Bryan Cranston is incredibly strong at playing these monstrous human beings. So when Carlo Baxter is put on trial for the murder of Kofi Jones, the lawyer, played spectacularly by a woman I've seen in a different show, but I can't remember what. It's not. I don't think she really did a phenomenal job in this. Check this show out if you can. It's 5 out of 5 stars. It's fantastic. So basically, the lawyer says, "Listen, Carlo Baxter, I know it was you, and the reason why is you have all 3 aspects: nature, motive, opportunity." And now I want to talk about the Tiefling. Okay, the Tiefling is half human, okay, and half demon, right? And it's a core species in Dungeons and Dragons. And the reason why is it's an exploration of good and evil for us as the Dragon Master, as the Dungeons and Dragons player, right? And the question is, are we going to be evil, right? Now, when we choose a Tiefling, our nature is evil, just like Carlo Baxter, right? Carlo Baxter is a highly prejudiced, highly hateful drug dealer who has followed in the steps in every step of Jimmy Baxter, his mother, Jimmy Baxter and his mother, and his grandfather Carmine Conti, right? He has fully embraced his nature as an evil being, right? And that's alarming. That is very alarming that he has fully embraced his evil nature, right? So what does that mean? Well, let's get all the way there. So basically, the lawyer is saying you have an evil nature, right? You have a crime lord father, you have a crime lord grandfather, and you have a crime lord-esque mother, right? You have the nature of evil. Now, what's interesting is Rocco, his brother, does not. Rocco, his brother, was a kind-hearted artist who did not wish to harm anyone, right? And so he had rejected his nature, right? So he had the same nature, but he rejected it. He rejected his own nature. And he was like a dwarf who was like, I'm not staying in the mines. I'm going up, right? Like, I'm not gonna throw another hammer blow, right? Like, I'm going to reject my nature. This is really fascinating, right? So when we play a Tiefling, we have the nature of evil. Does that mean we're going to do evil? No, we can reject the nature. Next is motive, right? So the lawyer was saying, I can prove that you killed Kofi Jones, and the reason why is you have motive. Kofi Jones just killed your brother. That's strong motive. Strong motive, right? But let's talk about motive from the perspective of a Tiefling. Now, you're going adventuring, right? Many adventurers adventure for coin. That's evil. If all you want is coin, then that's all you'll ever get is coin. Filthy lucre, right? But if you go out and you want to be a folk hero, which is literally a background, then you could be of the good alignment, right? And if you go out and you want to help people, if you go out and you want to explore the realms of Dungeons & Dragons, all these are good. All these are good motives. If you're going to be a cleric and you're going to worship Pelor, you might be a Tiefling. But if you worship Pelor, you remove your motive. You now have a motive of doing good for Pelor. If you're saying, I'm going to explore and map every single area of every Dungeons & Dragons realm, that's a good motive. You're no longer there doing it there. You're no longer there to drink in the suffering of others and to steal from others and to just get coin for coin's sake, right? That's evil, okay? So that is very, very interesting, and I think it's really fascinating just the way that this has been, positioned, right? Very, very fascinating, fascinating overall on what exactly is being done, so all of this is being pulled together, right? And then finally, opportunity. And the lawyer says about Carlo Baxter, she's like, Kofi Jones was taken to your cell specifically, and I think your family orchestrated that. You are given opportunity. You have the nature. You have not rejected your nature. You have the motive. You're fresh on it. You had the opportunity, nature, motive, opportunity. You did evil because you never rejected any ingredient of your evil stew, right? But with the tieflings, we can go right up to the edge of evil. Their nature is evil. They are from demons and devils, but they can reject their nature. Their motive, right? They can drink in the sorrow of loss. They can steal from people. They can take people's coins, right? They can seek coin for the purpose of coin. It's evil, right? But they can say, you know what? I reject that. I'm going to serve power for good. I'm going to choose chaotic good alignment. My goal is to map every single corner of the realms of Dungeons and Dragons. I'm not about the coin. I want to serve good and reject the motive. And then the opportunity, let's be very clear. When you're adventuring, you have tons of opportunity for murder, for theft, right? Like all those things, right? The opportunity is there. But if you can actually steal from people and you could take lives, but if you reject any of the other ingredients of the evil stew, you can do it for the right reasons. You only need to break one thing, right? You need to break the nature, you need to break the motive, or you need to break the opportunity, right? And the opportunity is the one that really probably can't be broken with adventuring. But if you reject your nature or you reject your motive, you could run a tiefling who's taking a life every single day. But if they're a paladin and they're smiting lives for right, you could even be a rogue who steals for good, right? And only steals from evil people. Very fascinating, very fascinating. And so the tiefling is really important. It is a very direct, very specific exploration of evil, right? And it's right in the middle of Dungeons and Dragons. And it's powerful. It is powerful. And it allows us to explore morality because that's what Gary pointed us to. Every single word you just heard is my humble opinion. What's important is when I get to hear your humble opinion, when you get in the comments and send your traffic. Please consider liking, subscribing, and have a fetch millennium.